Hello everyone, welcome to our Q&A live stream, talking about everything for your bike setup, for the rules at DATEV Challenge Roth 2025.
Andrea, thank you very much for coming by again. Following the change to the sports regulation rules from German Triathlon Federation and World Triathlon, there has been some confusion and misunderstandings. So today we would like to explain the new rules specifically in regards of the bike setup. In principle, the rules of the German Triathlon Federation apply in Roth. However, in our opinion, one new rule is so athlete unfriendly and difficult for the referees to implement that we have obtained an exception from the rules. Andrea will now explain to you all this in detail. The goal that we, together with the referees, have that we can ensure a comprehensive set of rules and a smooth competition for all our athletes. Andrea, let's go.
So here we go. I think it would be a good idea to give you a quick rundown of all the rules there are around your bike setup. Let me get one of these. So there are 4 big parts on the bike where you can mount stuff to, and we go through all of those. The first one is the top tube. The top tube the rule is pretty easy. You are allowed to use the full length of the top tube, starting from the last moving part. You see here it moves. This is the place where we start to measure. You can mount anything to your top tube as long as it is in the 10 centimeter box. So you can go 10 centimeters up from your top tube, and you're not allowed to have anything that extends beyond your top tube. So 10 centimeters of height and the width of your top tube are fine. I think this is pretty clear, pretty easy. It's a little bit more difficult when we come to the cockpit, but I think we can make sure all of you guys understand what's legal to race here in Roth. There is a 25 by 20 centimeter box for your cockpit you have to keep in mind. It will be measured from the lowest part of your armrest. So where your elbows rest, this is the place where this box will be measured. I've got this little thing for you. So this is the place where we measure, and you've got 20 centimeters up and 25 centimeters towards your body. Everything you mount to your cockpit has to be within this box. So make sure if you have got a bottle cage or anything, it has to be within that box. Also, the bottle has to be within this box. You're not allowed to have anything that covers your arm completely. Slightly with a water bottle between your arms is fine, but you're not allowed to cover your arms with anything. Another important point at the cockpit is if you have anything between your arms that reaches down to your front wheel, you have to have a clearance of 0.5 centimeters. This is the lowest point you can go with anything mounted downwards to your wheel. I think this is pretty clear, pretty easy to understand. There is one thing you have to keep in mind, or it's good to know. A bike computer mount would be fine if it would be above the 20 centimeters, so it could extend over those 20 centimeters, but to the back it's only 25 centimeters. Everything has to be packed in there. You're allowed to carry a capacity of 2 liters in front, and one bike bottle can have a maximum capacity of 1 liter. It is not important how much liquid is inside the bottle. For the measurement, it's important how many or how much of liquids you can fill in the bottle you use. Maybe a quick tip from my side for the bike check-in. Make sure you put the bottles in you want to use on race day. To make sure your setup is legal, make sure if you want to put a 1 liter bottle in on race day, make sure you have a 1 liter bottle in for the bike check-in, so you can be safe with everything. Another important thing you need to know for the cockpit, you're not allowed to rest parts of your body on a bottle or on anything else mounted to your cockpit. So make sure you don't touch or lie on anything that is on the cockpit, except for the aero bars, of course. Then we have another part where bottles or anything can be mounted. This is the triangular within the frame. Here, everything is allowed. You can mount bottles as big and as much as you want. So this is pretty easy, I think. For all of us, this is a good solution. Then let's move to the rear side, the back of the bike. There's been a little bit of confusion, but I think we can make sure everybody understands the rule and it's a good rule for everybody. According to the rules of the German Triathlon Federation, everything mounted to the back of your bike has to be within an imaginary 30 by 30 centimeter box. That includes toolbox, bottle cages, everything. But I want to make sure we all are on the same page and it's a good rule for you and you know what you can race. So this is why I read out the exact words we talked about with our head referees and which will be applied at DATEV Challenge Roth. If you have a bottle cage attached to your seat post or seat, any additional bag or box has to be within the imaginary 30 by 30 meter box. But at DATEV Challenge Roth 2025, due to a very German word coming, Änderung der Durchführungsbestimmungen, toolboxes made by the manufacturer of your bike, integrated or removable, do not have to be part of the imaginary 30 by 30 centimeter box. For clarity, I will also give you a German version of what I just said. Wenn ihr einen Flaschenhalter am Heck eures Rads verbaut habt, muss auch jede angebaute Tasche oder Box innerhalb des imaginären 30 x 30 cm Rahmens sein. Aber aufgrund einer Änderung der Durchführungsbestimmungen gilt beim DATEV Challenge Roth 2025. Alle Toolboxen, die vom Hersteller eures Rades als Originalzubehör angeboten werden oder herstellerseitig zum Rad gehören, egal ob sie fest verbaut oder abnehmbar sind, müssen nicht in den imaginären 30 x 30 cm Rahmen passen. Soweit hoffentlich so klar. Wenn nicht, haben wir noch ein Beispiel für euch, an dem man das ganz gut sieht, was gemeint ist und was, glaube ich, viele von den Fragen klärt. We have an example for what I just said, and you can see it on the screen behind me. This is the setup. We have a special rule at DATEV Challenge Roth 2025. This is an integrated box from the manufacturer of the bike. At our race in July, this box must not fit into the imaginary 30 by 30 centimeter rule. So you have this box and you can also have a bottle cage behind your seat. This does not have to be within 30 by 30 centimeters. As long as it's an original part coming from the manufacturer, but it doesn't matter if it's removable or not. Another thing you have to keep in mind, talking at the back of your bike, you're not allowed to extend the middle axis of your wheel, of your back wheel. And a bike bottle does not have to fit within the 30 by 30 centimeter box. Maybe I'll show it to you with one of our bike bottles. This is the imaginary box. All the fixed parts like toolboxes, bottle cages has to fit within, but you're allowed to extend the bike bottle over this imaginary box. So far, so good. I'm pretty sure there are a few questions now in the live stream, and I'll look to the guys behind the camera. They're shaking their heads. I'll give you a few more seconds maybe to think about if you have a question. If not, I'll talk a little bit about the bike check-in procedure. I already told you, make sure to bring the bottles you want to use on race day. The bottles we hand out are these, which are 750 milliliters. So if you want to use bigger ones, make sure you have them in your bottle cages on race day. Another important thing I'd like to tell you for the bike check-in, there has been a slide rule change. You will not be disqualified when you check in your bike and it's not legal or according to the rules. So you can check in your bike. If the referees tell you, hey, the setup you have is not perfect, it would be illegal on race day, you have time to change it afterwards. So you can check in your bike, you can go into transition, and then you can change the bike. But that also means don't try to trick us. The setup you use on race day is the one we measure. So if your bike was fine at check-in, and then you change something within transition, change the height of the seat post, so the 30 by 30 centimeter box does no longer apply or something, this could lead to a disqualification on race day. So make sure to don't change your setup, but you can change your setup if referees tell you it's illegal. You can check in your bike, take all the time, and change everything in transition so you don't have to go back, wait in the line again, and then check in your bike again. I think this is pretty important to know. Yeah, I'll have another look at the guys behind the camera. Yeah. So if there are no questions, I will give you another rundown from the exception we have for everything behind the seat post. Please keep in mind, we can only talk about this for our race. If you race anywhere else, make sure what rules do apply there. So these are the rules for our race, 2025 July here in Roth. So I will give you another quick rundown just to make sure. 30 by 30 centimeter box. It is important, it will be measured from the point that is the first point that touches the seat post or the seat, and it's closest to the cockpit. This is the point where you measure, where you start your measurement, and this one is the point. So if you mount something here, this is where the 30 by 30 centimeter starts. If you mount something here, this is where it will start. The box does not have to be parallel to the ground, so you can move it up and down a little. You can give it an angle to make sure it fits in, so it does not have to be parallel to the ground, and it will be measured from the first point that touches the seat post or the saddle. Once again, everything has to fit in there except for toolboxes that are by the manufacturer, that are integrated or can be removed, just like you see in the picture behind me. This would be fine. This setup would be fine as it is. So I think this is a good exception of the rule. It is easier for the referees to check. It is way better for you as athletes, so you don't have to decide, do I want nutrition or do I want a spare tires? So you can have both, as long as it is an original part from the manufacturer. Yeah. I have a question from the live stream. What about tape on the cockpit? Tape on the cockpit the rule is duct tape is not allowed. It is not allowed to fix any problems you have with your cockpit. It is not allowed to build a fairing with tape, for example, but it is allowed underneath the grip tape to mount shifters, for example. This would be fine, but you're not allowed to have a big amount of tape that covers up something so the referees cannot see what is built underneath the tape. This is very important. Important is also, even if your setup is legal, and even if you bought it like this from the manufacturer, it also has to be intact. It is not allowed to have sharp corners. If there is like some major damage to it, the referees will tell you this would not be fine because of safety reasons. Another question I have from the live stream: can the bottle cage be higher than the saddle? Yes, it could be, as long as it fits in a 30 by 30 centimeter box. This would be fine. There's a little.
Can you show the box again?
Yes.
So that it measures from the lowest point.
So.
And why it could be then higher than the saddle.
Yeah. So if you mount a bottle cage here, for example, this would be the point where it would be the starting point of the measurement. I've got a bottle cage here. This would be rising up over the saddle, and I've got a bottle in here, so that would be fine. So it could be higher than saddle height.
And if there's now a box below, where would the box, the 30 by centimeter box?
So if it's not an original part from your manufacturer that is built into your frame, then it would have to fit. So this is, let's imagine you have a bottle cage here and here a spare toolbox. Then this would be the point where the 30 by 30 centimeter box would be measured. It's a little bit difficult to show, but the lowest point where you mount anything to your seat post is the lowest point of the 30 by 30 centimeter box, and then you'll have the square to fit everything inside. Another question: is there a way the bottle on the cockpits must point? No, there's no special rule for the way the bottles have to point, so they can be towards your body or towards the front. That's fine. The only thing you have to keep in mind is you're not allowed to cover your arms with the bottles. Talking about bottles, I'm not sure if I said it before, so I'll just say it now. In the back, you're also allowed to have a full capacity of 2 liters of liquid, but you're only allowed to have 2 bottles with a maximum capacity of 1 liter per bottle. In the front, it's 2 liters, but you can split it on as many bottles you like. Only one is not allowed to exceed 1 liter. In the back, only 2 bottles are allowed. I hope that's clear so far. Another question from the guys behind the camera. They're shaking their heads. That's your chance, guys. If you have any questions, ask them now. So far so good. If there are no further questions, I think that's it so far. I hope all of you guys understood the rules, understood the little special rules we have, and then we'll see you in July.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Andrea will be responsible for the working relation with the federation, with the referees. We will have a lot of referees coming again to Roth. We're very, very grateful. The referees are now also briefed on that special exception of the rule here in Roth. And the aim, as we've said before, is that it's a very smooth race for you guys as well as for the referees. And we do not have any discussions or problems Saturday when we all check in the bikes out at the swim start. Andrea, thank you very much for the clarification. Thank you very much for watching today. Have a great last training, and we will see you in Roth on July 6th, the latest.